What's up, guys? Synthetic Division here. So today's video we're going to be talking about the ultimate upgrade for the NerdQaxe revision 6.1 and revision 7. So as you remember from the last video, we did a couple little heat sinks and added a back fan, and they did well. Eventually, being in my mining room where it's about 85 to 86 degrees on a hot day, I had to end up turning them down. So I've got them here in this room. I've pumped them back up to where I want them, between 5 and 6, 5.7 and 6 terahash. I've unplugged the back fans so that we can get a good baseline thermal reading with how they are set up right now without their back fans. In the previous video where I did a mild upgrade to them, we already revealed that the back fans take down 10 degrees Celsius across the board on the 8 VREG sets on these. So on this one, we're going to be doing some serious upgrades. So I normally don't do this, but because these miners cost a lot more than, like, per se, a Bidax, I decided to break down and buy a couple of these. These are the AXP90-X47 Full Copper Thermalright Heatsinks. Okay, on top of those two heatsinks, where each one of these is going to get it, we got a couple of nice P12 Pro PST fans, 120s from Arctic, and we printed, and yes, they are in red, a couple of the Helix fan shrouds. Okay, so these mount directly to those heat sinks and then allow you to add a 120 fan. I will go through the process of how to put these on. There's a ton of videos out there. This will be a kind of a step-by-step guide, but not quite. Okay, so let's go over to the computer real quick. I'll show you our baselines, where we're at. These have been up for about 25 minutes or so in here, so it's a perfect time to see exactly where they're at. I believe about 15 minutes at a current room temperature, which our current room temperature right now is 72. I have the AC on, so let's get our baselines real quick and then we'll get started. So hang on just a second. Okay, guys, so here we are. We are 60 on the ASICs and 58 on the VREGs. Okay, now in my mining room at this hash rate, these would be climbing well over 60 and the fan would just be going 100%. Right now, the fan curve is actually set to, go over here, target temp of 60. Okay, I like to be able to leave them on automatic fans if I can. So now that's the Rev 7. Let's come over here to the Rev 6.1, and here we are. So with the new updated Nerd OS, we've got two temperature readings: 64 internal, 56.95 external, or 59.5, sorry, and 59.9 on the ASIC. Target temperature of 60. Okay, so we're going to see if we can improve upon that with the upgrades we're going to do. So let's get over to the bench. Let's get them both torn down. And you've seen the video before where I tore them down. And I'm going to show you some tips and tricks to get these heat sinks on. So hang on just a second. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, a couple things to note about the difference between the Rev 6.1 and the Rev 7, in case you don't know. On the Rev 6.1, the TPS is actually underneath the screen right here. I have a heatsink on it already. I highly recommend you get a heatsink on that as soon as you get one. Pop the screen off, put a little tiny heatsink, you're good to go. Now on the Rev 7, because of the different style of power phases, you'll have them here and here. This one's gotten a little crooked on us, so we'll straighten it out. One of the things we are going to do is actually add heatsinks here on the inductor coils as well, because they do get warm. So let's get the heat sinks taken off. I've taken them off before. You've seen another video. Again, check out the other video to the initial comparison to these two miners. But with that being noted, let's get these completely torn down and I'll show you how to install the heat sinks. So hang on just a second. Real quick, guys. So I get a lot of crap and I get a lot of people who message me say, oh, you probably don't run those miners as long as you say you do. Let me show you something. We just thermal pasted this one when we got this one less than a month ago. Look at the dirt on there, guys. Now look at this one. I've had this for just about a month. That is dirt. So, proof's in the pudding, guys. Anyways, let me get these cleaned up. Definitely got to dust them. Get all the old thermal paste off. And we'll get started with how to install the heatsink. So, be right back. Okay, guys. So, I already put one together right here. Fully assembled, ready to rock and roll. But I decided we should show you guys how to do it. I should show how to do it. So first and foremost, let's take this fan off. You just pop these little tabs like this, and we'll save those. We will reuse these. Okay, and we'll take the fan and toss it in the drawer with fans, because we're not going to use that size of fan. Next, remove the peel, guys. You will have thermal problems if you don't take it off. If you Okay, so had an audio failure there. We're back. I caught it just in time, so I didn't finish the whole video. That would have sucked. Anyways, let's get back to it. So we're talking about the heatsink. We need to change the brackets, okay? So the brackets that it came with are these guys right here and here. These are the 1700. They'll say it on the brackets. You need to take those off and put these ones on. These ones are not numbered. Something to remind you of. If you look right here, we got this little lip. You need to make sure that that lip is facing upwards in the heatsink. So if you can see that right there, just like so, okay? Now we're back. Now audio failure. Man, that sucks. Anyways, let's get to the shroud. Okay, so what I like to do with the shroud is I actually like to use my power screwdriver and run the screws in all the way and then just twist them, okay, like this. Let them break through that a little bit, and then when you do that, you can back them back out just like so, okay? And you're going to do the same thing for all four of them. Just run them in, twist it, okay? And then you're good, okay? So we'll pull those back out now and back them off, and then you can put the fan on. I actually had this all assembled already, but I didn't put any thermal paste on it yet. So we're good there. Let me get this back up here. I dropped the bracket on the floor, of course. Okay, so now that we have that, I'll take our fan, and I want mine positioned where my wire is on the left side so that I can fasten it to the stands that they are equipped with. So we will take this and just kind of line this up. This is a really good, I'll leave a link for this. It's actually a really good kit, or a good fan print if you have a 3D printer. I printed this on a P1S with the AMS set up. So now you're just going to get it to where it's tight. And it'll thread right into that fan easier than it does the plastic. I promise you that. Plastic fan. You can do this two ways. You can come from the top and put the screw in through here, but you need a narrow screwdriver to bite. And I just don't happen to have any here, so this is how I'm doing it. And then you'll just twist it till it's tight, until that gap is closed. No gap between there, guys, okay? Say it like that. And there we go. We've got our fan shroud all set up just like so. Now we'll attach it to the heatsink, which I'll show you that as well. This part's not too bad. It's just a little, you're gonna be fidgeting with it. So hold it like this, big chunky boy, and you're gonna go this little bracket. These little tabs right here are gonna go in here on one side, like so, and then you're gonna try to push it into this side, and then you're just gonna pull it down until it latches onto that heatsink, just like that. And it'll bite right into the side of this groove right here. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Put this little one right here. It's usually easier if you start on one side and then work it over to the other. And you're going to have to flex them a little bit. And then just pop it down into that groove right there. And that groove kind of retains it, okay? So there we go. We've got our heatsink positioned. Now, because my fingers have been on this, I'm going to wipe this down and clean it really good. And then I'll let it dry. And we'll move back over to the boards for a second, and I've got them set up over here. I did place some new heat sinks on these, okay? So I placed a couple of heat sinks on the inductor coils here, and then 2 of the same size heat sinks across the 3 inductor coils here. Give us a kind of nice blended look. Now we already have some on the back here, and back here, and then we have the ones on the TPS here and here, and then on the NerdQaxe++ revision 6.1 and previous generations, TPS is here. Now, unfortunately, we can't get any airflow over here, and that's why in the numbers you notice that the temperature is higher on the internal temperature than it is the external temperature, because it's right here versus this one, which is right next to its stuff. The sensor, the external temp sensor is outside of this, and then the internal is the TPS itself. So unfortunately, that's just how it works. So let's go ahead and do the 6.1 first. Something to remember, guys, this kit for these coolers do not come with screws you're going to need. you're going to have to retain your old ones. So this is where you need to be super careful, okay? You don't want to crank these on too tight to where they will crack the ASICs, because that is possible to do. So you'll have to retain your old screws. So I have my old screws right here for the revision 6.1, and we're going to get some thermal paste on there. And I've got some MX7 we're going to use. And we are just going to put a little dollop on each one, like so. Using my squints here. Now, one of the things I was thinking about doing is doing a thermal paste showdown. MX6, MX7, Thermal Grizzly Crown Knot, PTM 7950, Thermalright, because I get some of that with these coolers. And I have that NerdQaxe++ Hydro, and I'm thinking, should we convert it to air for a little while just to tinker with it and do this with it, give it a little bit of testing with the thermal paste. Leave me a comment down below if you'd like to see that. I think it'd be kind of fun. Okay, so now we need to position the fan and that, and we're going to position this just like this, okay? So now we need to be extra careful, guys, because we're using non-spring-loaded screws. We need to be careful not to crush the ASICs, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put one screw in on each corner, and we're going to get it tied down, okay? So I am going to move the mic to my desk right here and turn my hat backwards so I can see what I'm doing, and take my squints off. Take my glasses off so I can use my squints, because I want to make sure we get this right, okay? There we go. Bye. Okay. We got our biting on right there. We got our 2 screw holes lined up. Now I can put my glasses back on and turn my hat back around so I can see what I'm doing. Sorry if that was muffled, guys. All right, so let's put my glasses back on now. See if I can see what I'm doing here. So we'll take our last 2 screws. Okay. And you know what I'm wondering? So this one comes with spacers. I'm wondering if I can use these spacers. That would be interesting. So let's slide that spacer in there, because there is a lot of room in there. Use a little tool here to try to shift that spacer around. We'll do that. We will put the little spacer in my tool. Oof, those ones aren't very good. I broke the tip on my iFixit, and yeah, bummer. Tried to 3D print it. So let's do this. Of course, I dropped the screw. If we can use the spacers, that would be much more to my liking. In fact, I think we can. So look at that. We are going to use the spacers. So if you got the plastic spacers with yours like I did, use them. They will come in handy. Now the other one I have doesn't have spacers. It has spring screws, so we'll just use those. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I dropped a screw, so let's find it. Man, what it's like to be blind. Drop a screw and you'll never find it. Took me forever. Anyways, let's get these spacers put in. Perfect. I think we got it just about where we need it. Boy, those are tricky, but that's the way to go. So if yours came with spacers, utilize the spacers. That's an interesting find. I didn't think I was going to have to use them, but I would much rather use the spacers personally than use just the cooler. But we'll see to make sure that the cooler mounts correctly with those spacers in there. We don't want to have a spacer problem with the spacers. And that one pushed it too far in. Here we go. Let's use this guy. Boy, oh boy, always fun to try to line up two tiny little holes like that. There we go. And then we'll take this one out and put the spacer in. Yeah, this one's made by VimU. It's been really good. In fact, in my fleet, this is my highest difficulty. So let's try not to screw it up. This has a hit 1.4T in my on my fleet, which is pretty awesome actually. I was pretty excited when I saw that. Or 4.4T, sorry, 4.4T. Okay, there we go. Screws are in. And now let's check the clearance here. I don't think there's going to be enough clearance. See inside there? No, I don't think that's enough. Well, maybe. We'll fire it up. I'm going to tighten these down. We'll get this thing sandwiched and see what it does. It might be enough space in there. I don't see any space between the A6 and the heatsink. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. We'll set it off to the side, and I will do the NerdQaxe revision 7.70, 7.1, 7.0, it's 7.0. Do the same thing, okay? So this one, though, let's get some thermal paste on there. Don't forget that. This one, on the other hand, has spring-loaded screws. So you'll just get it tight to where it feels good with these, okay? Anyways, I'm going to pause the video. We'll get this put together, and then I'll show you the final results. We'll get it over to the benches, and then you'll know. So hang on just a second. Be right back. Okay, guys, so for a tip for the ones with the spring-loaded screws to make sure you have even pressure, look inside here and check your threads. You want them all equal, okay? Like this one needs a little bit more. There we go. If you equalize them, you won't have any trouble. And this one actually needs to back up just a little bit. See? Just like so. All right, let's get these back on the stands and we'll see some test results. Real quick before I finish up and get you guys to the thermals. The screws that go in around the edges, a little bit more of a pain in the butt to get in there. Just something to keep in mind. You're going to have to work around that gigantic heatsink, okay? If you do this the way I did. Just a forewarning. This stand wasn't too bad. The other stand wasn't too bad. And also remember that you just added a ton of weight. So tip over chances could be a little bit easier, okay? Anyways, hang on a second. We'll get over to the bench once we get thermals going. Good Lord, I dropped audio again. Anyways, so let's talk about temps. ASIC temps are holding at whatever I set it to, okay? I set them to 55, they'll stay at 55. I'll set them to 60, they'll stay at 60. So far, it has increased the temperature in my room, is actually up to 75 now. Big differences that we noticed. VREG temps, okay? Our VREG temps have come up, or have dropped significantly more on the Rev 6.1 versus the Rev 7. The Rev 7 are staying at 50. They are not going anywhere. It's right there at 50. Here, we have two temperatures. We have the internal and external temp. And because our temp is actually underneath this screen, it's slightly higher, but the VREGs themselves are cooler. TPS is under the screen, guys. On the Rev 7, the TPSs are right here where that air is coming out. So sorry about the lost audio tonight. It's been crazy, but it's hard to, I feel like trying to repeat this process over and over again is just going to be a pain in the butt. So hopefully we can fix this problem. Some takeaways from this. If you're absolutely flaming hot like I am right now in my mining room, this is not a bad solution. These are about 30 bucks per cooler. Let's say average on 10 bucks per fan and then some filament, okay? So it's not a bad upgrade. I think, obviously, mine were doing okay, but I was having to turn them down simply because it was just concerning how warm they got. So some takeaways from this. This is a pretty good upgrade. I'm not a big fan of copper. You guys know me. I prefer the aluminum heat sinks. But in this case, for the ASIC chips, it works great. Plus, we get this larger fan, which is fantastic. And like I said, we haven't even hooked up the back fans yet. I'm thinking I might just hook up the back fans, and then we'll call this video at the very end. So, in fact, let's do that. Hang on just a second. We'll be right back. Okay, so with the back fans enabled, now we got our second headers on there. We've lost another 10 degrees Celsius on the voltage regulators. These voltage regulators are nice and cool, okay? Now, granted, give or take some temp here, guys. These are external sensors, okay? So those external sensors will round into that number. But we're looking really good, okay? We're looking really good. In fact, 42 on the Rev 6.1 and 47 on the Rev 7. That's pretty good. That's really good. We're dropping temps, okay? So 5 to 10 degrees per miner. Some takeaways from this video, guys. Sorry, first and foremost, about the audio quality, getting drops and stuff here. I'm working on fixing it. I got some new mics coming. These ones are just kind of junky. They're these little tiny guys like this. Not very good. We'll get some. I got some new ones. This is a great upgrade. It's expensive though, and I don't like that. I don't like that. I feel like I'm kind of had to go this far just to get these things wrangled in. I don't know. It's just one of those things I'm kind of up in the air about. I recommend it if you're living a hot climate. Yeah, if you want to push these things, definitely. I don't push my miners. I've learned the hard way with two of them now. When you keep overclocking them, eventually they'll give out. So I don't overclock them. These are 5.8 terahash where I leave them at. I'll push them to 6.1 at the most. Other than that, that's as far as I'll go with them. So, their stock voltage is 4.8. But other than that, or the stock frequency, your hash rate. But other than that, I won't go any further than its advertised hash rate. It's not worth it to me. But being so hot, I didn't think I was going to have to do this upgrade. And I probably wouldn't have to, but I felt like this was a good time to address this upgrade. So I guess if it's running real hot for you and you're going to be overclocking it, yes. If not, find a way to get some air over this stuff, the boards, okay? It'll help cool everything down, especially on the Rev 6.1 where that TPS is underneath the screen. That's really a really bad place for it. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking the time to watch my videos. I really appreciate it. Remember, we got that giveaway going. Check out that short. I'll leave a link for that down below. Questions, comments, concerns? What do you think about the idea about doing a thermal paste showdown? Leave me a comment down below. Anyways, guys, thanks for taking the time. Peace out.